Brought to you by Diversity Unlimited.
Welcome to the Nickel and Dime Press video page, where I strive to help you avoid getting nickeled and dimed to death by life, and instead to learn to nickel and dime life back. Where I know that if you mind the pennies, the dollars will follow. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with all of your friends. Remember, it's free, and it helps me to rank in the YouTube algorithm. So, thank you. Today we're talking about tips, mainly about tips that you will get while working at a restaurant. But tips can be received in a variety of jobs for a variety of reasons. Your specific application might warrant doing things a certain way, but you will still be required to properly track and report your tips. So first thing we want to talk about your tips is that it's your responsibility to make sure that they are properly tracked, not your employer's. Don't fall into that mistake. If they're not doing something right, you still owe the taxes. So be proactive about this and make sure you know it's your responsibility. A written daily log by you is sufficient for this. The IRS provides Form 4070A to help you keep this daily record. If you get more than $20 from any single employer, you need to report it to your employer. Reporting is important because your employer is required to pay 50% of your employment taxes on those tips. If you fail to report them, then you're left holding the bag. Remember, it's your responsibility of paying the whole amount. So consider it a penalty of 50% of the taxes owed if you don't report them properly. Reporting is required monthly with Form 4070 by the 10th day of each month, reporting the previous month's tips. Generally, restaurants will have waitstaff use their computers so they can log in and out, and this is where they'll usually have a screen that will allow you to log your tips there. If they do have a screen for you to do all this, you don't need to report your tip on Form 4070. And as a pro tip, I want to suggest that you still keep your own written record of your tips. Because of tip sharing and the complexity of tip tracking, it is easy for the employer's records to not accurately reflect your tips, and the IRS accepts your daily record as the priority record. If there is a discrepancy, your daily record will be used to make proper adjustments on your year-end tax form. There are a variety of ways that you can be tipped, though you only report cash, check, debit, and credit card tips that you receive. There is what is known as tip splitting and tip pooling arrangements. Report only the tips that you actually receive and retain. Don't report to your employer any portion of the tips you receive that you have passed on to other employees. However, you must report tips you receive from other employees. This is where your written daily record helps because you need to have the name and positions of the employees that you share your tips with or that you received your tips from. Sorry if all this sounds confusing or overwhelming. Don't worry about it. It's really not that bad once you get started. And as another pro tip, I suggest you use a Google Sheet for tracking all of this. You can access it from work on your phone when your shift ends, and your tax preparer will praise your name for all of your effort. Also, tips come in non-cash forms as well, such as tickets, passes, or other items of value. But don't report these items to your employer, as you are not required to pay Social Security, Medicare, or additional Medicare, or railroad retirement taxes on these tips. So let's just recap real quick. 1. Keeping track of tips is your responsibility. 2. Reporting tips to your employer is your responsibility. 3. If your employer does not have a system to help you properly report your tips, you are required to report them by the 10th of each month on Form 4070. And then keep good daily records, as your daily journal is accepted by the IRS as the priority record. If you do not keep proper records, you are required to pay whatever your employers state that you owe. So just keep your own records. And as a final helpful hint, relax. You got this. Publication 531, Reporting Tip Income, has all the rules for tips if you want to read through that. I've put a link in the comment below for this publication. Plus, I've also put a link for publication 1244, which includes the forms 4070A and 4070. You can find those in the comments below. So I want to thank you for giving me your time. I hope you've benefited from this nickel and dime press video. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and to share it with all of your friends. And please remember, it's completely free to do so. Cheers!